Okay, this is GamerBlave, and we are back with another episode of Horizon Zero Dawn. If you missed the last episode, then we have been climbing this mountain, and the reason that we're climbing this mountain is we came face to face with Gaia in the last episode in the heart of the Embrace, and she basically told us, well, as much as this artificial intelligence can be a she, told us that we have to come up here and find out how to destroy Hades. Now, if you want some more details about that, because, I mean, there's obviously a reason for that, but if we get into that, then I'll spend the whole time talking here. If you want more details about that and you don't know about that, then I invite you to check that episode out. But anyway, we made it up here. We had to fight this Stormbird, which was the first time that I actually managed to take one of those guys out. And that was pretty intense. But anyway, now we are up here, and we are going to move our way in here.
You made a climbing path for me, but left an army of machines for me to deal with?
Since when were machines any obstacle for you? If you could fly, I wouldn't have bothered with the climbing path either.
Well, that Stormbird was quite an obstacle, to be perfectly frank about it. I hope we don't have to fight.
Down.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Down.
I don't know if I can get out of this, guys. Honestly, I don't know if we can get out of this. I think I might have just slaughtered myself. Yeah, I think part of me's tempted to cut that out, but I'm gonna leave it in there. Gotta add some flavor, some spice to this whole scenario, because, you know, what would it be without the realism? I have absolutely no idea how I missed that jump.
When were machines any obstacle for you? If you could fly, I wouldn't have bothered with the climbing path either.
Okay, guys, let's not botch this. So, like, I tried to jump to that and completely messed it up. Okay, there we go. See, it's not hard. It's just, sometimes I just completely miss those jumps. Okay, I don't think there's any reason to go over there. Looks like we've got a little switchback, or we can just climb up these. Though my very recent history with climbing these things has not been stellar. Not stellar. We should pull out our focus here and do a little scanning, see if there's anything of interest to check out, but doesn't look like there is.
This is exactly the kind of place I expected to find you in, Silence.
Thank you. It's one of many workshops I've constructed over the years.
Over the years. Yeah, he doesn't have anything really that we can check out in here. Although, what is this? Like, I really want to take a quick look at this thing before we talk to him. I mean, he might tell us about this thing, but this is kind of an interesting little device here.
For years, I tried to get through this hatch. I drilled, I burned, I blasted. But we both know that you won't have any trouble getting through.
You make it sound like I should apologize.
Not at all. It never occurred to me that the way through would not be with force, but with a key. A key in human form. The failure of imagination was mine, not yours.
When did you come here? Repairing Gaia. Why aren't you here? Well, he's not here because he tried really hard to get through that door and couldn't. I guess the question would be like, why isn't he here to go in with me, maybe? So let's just go through these one by one. When did you come here?
Looks like you've spent a lot of time here.
19 years ago, a great explosion destroyed this mountain. Gaia's death, your birth. The echo could be heard as far as the claim. Ash darkened the skies. How they fretted in Meridian as they tried to read this omen. The crater burned for weeks, but when it cooled, I was the first to behold what lay within. Over time, The machines closed ranks to protect it. Useful. Soon, no one dared to come here. Except me.
And he found the door, but couldn't make it through. And even though he did all of those things to it, I mean, this material, you know, we don't really know what it is. I mean, presumably it's made out of something even tougher than these robots are made out of, because he said he blasted and drilled and couldn't scratch it. And clearly, you know, we can damage these robots even with things like our arrows and spears and stuff like that. So if it was made out of just, you know, regular steel or, you know, whatever these dinosaurs are made out of, you would be able to get through it eventually with brute force. So it's clearly not that. They've made these doors out of something else.
In her message, Gaia said we could restore her, but after seeing the damage, how could that be?
She said any effort to repair her must come after Hades is destroyed. I concur. Rebuilding the terraforming system now might allow Hades to use it as a weapon. Because of Gaia's sacrifice, it has been forced to search for means that are less convenient.
But do you think it's even possible to restore Gaia?
You know what the cauldrons are capable of. How they fabricate any technology necessary to create a machine. By the same principle, it should be possible to replicate every technology necessary to repair Gaia. But that would take years, and we're counting the time we have left by the hour.
Yeah, that's true. We don't have a whole lot of time. We gotta deal with this situation lickety split.
I thought you might actually be here this time. Actually, here.
Why? My presence is unnecessary. You don't need my help to pass through this door. You were the one born to do this, not me.
All right, let's do it then.
It's time for me to head in.
Yes. When you find the Master Override, you will gain the power to defeat Hades. Everything depends on you.
Well, let's do it then.
Genetic identity confirmed. Entry authorized.
Nice.
Dr. Soba, you are cleared to proceed.
Okay, well, let's check around and see if there's anything up here. Now, we're definitely going to find some data points. Basically, every one of these places that we've come into has been littered with them. So, we should expect, you know, as much.
Logging arrivals. Shen Margot.
Whoops. I did not mean to do that. Hold on. Let's restart that.
Logging arrivals. Shen Margot.
Welcome to Frozen Hell. Population 10.
11 counting Gaia.
Don't count your chicken embryos before they're incubated, hon. She's still firing up. Be a while before you eat that omelet.
I'm vegan, Travis. You'd think we'd worked in the same secret base long enough for you to notice.
We weren't scheduled to shack up here for another 3 weeks. You realize I just lost 350 kilos of pre-code smut comics in transit.
Wait, actual physical media? Why didn't you have it digitized?
Can't beat the feel of physical media on your fingers. And in here, we ain't gonna be touching a whole lot else. Figured I was gonna pass the time archiving them. What about you?
Me? Work, I guess. My task queue stretches out for like 3 years. There's a lot of sharp edges to round off. After that, I hadn't really thought about it.
Oh, you will. You're what, 30? Reckon you'll be the one turning the lights off at the end. Food for thought, huh, vegan?
This sucks forever.
Nah, not forever. Just the rest of your life.
Oh, gosh. Oh, my goodness. Look at this. And there's something down there. It looks like another data point. Look at this place. Yeah, this place has just been wrecked. Yeah, so Gaia wasn't screwing around when she blew this place up. Okay. I am not really sure which way to proceed here.
Guess that's my way across.
No, it doesn't look like there's another data point there. It's just something weird. So, looks like we're going on a ride here, guys. Okay. Guys, I'm glad that the waypoints are fairly forgiving in this game, because, my goodness, I'm not exactly sure what I was supposed to do. I think that there was an area, not an area, I think that there was something that I could jump off onto there, but, you know, like, I didn't, we haven't had to do that yet.
That's my way across.
So there's a bar down there.
Boy, just do it.
You don't
Said it better myself.
think, just do it. Well, last time I tried that happened. So I don't really seem to have a lot of control at the end of it. And the first time I didn't press anything. Like I just, let it run its course. The second time I tried to actually jump. I pressed spacebar and tried to jump towards that bar at the end, and it did not work. So it does look like there are, some way. It doesn't look like we can get to that, can we? No, so we can't climb up over there. So this is really
Guess that's my way.
the option. Okay.
It's held like this for 19 years, right?
Well,
Don't answer.
Yeah, the third time's a charm. Didn't I have a situation like that in a recent video where I had to try something 3 times? I'm having trouble remembering that now. Scan around, see if any data points or anything like that we're missing. Okay, drop to ledge. It looks like it's we got to go up here, so yeah, I should have done the drop to ledge. That was not safe. The jumping, guys, I find to be, not, or the platforming, I guess, is very difficult for me. Or at least I'm having difficulties with it. Not nearly as many data points as we've been finding in a lot of these facilities.
They lived.
But a lot of these places,
Once this was all enclosed by rock and metal.
a lot of this place has been blown to smithereens. I saw the data point back there. I'm not skipping it. I'm just checking around this area, see if there's anything else.
Record. I just woke up. I see the numbers, but can't make out the time. I was dreaming of... I was giving a lecture in Q Hall. Maybe it was something more shamanistic. I don't know. An audience of shadowy faces under a blank open sky. I told them the world ended with a bang. A plague of robots. The last humans. We went out, not with a whimper, but a whisper. In caves, ending like we started, huddled around a flickering glow. The heads of state, the Fortune 5s, the leaders and lottery winners and life cults, all of them buried in their little shelters. Some believing they'll live it out some way, somehow, or Elysium, or us here at Gaia Prime, no different. A multitude of tiny societies taking hold, flaring, dying. Some will be beautiful, some horrific, and none of them matter. Short-term civilizations. One last gasp before the long-held breath. Before I wake up, I know the audience is gone. I'm talking to myself, to a quiet planet, a barren sphere. Just Gaia and her long, long dreaming. I hope she won't be lonely.
Jeez, that's bleak.
evacuation happened so fast. No time to think things through. No time for goodbyes. There were lines in the medical ward. I told Tom Pake I'd be with him when he went under. But there was one last shipment of Paradiseidae zygotes I could get processed if I rushed. I'm still angry at him for forcing me to choose. Angry at myself for... Well, he died alone. And I didn't get the bloody birds of paradise saved either. All the...
Elizabeth's room.
Oh, whoops.
I know it. She didn't even get a chance to unpack. These are her journals. Elizabeth's journals. And they're all destroyed?
Scan them. The Focus can rebuild them, but the process is slow. To us, it seems a powerful device, but its engine is tiny and limited.
How slow?
Days, weeks, years. Concern yourself with stopping Hades and extending the future, and you might live long enough to hear them.
I wanted to read those. That's Derval's journal. I don't know where... Sobek journal. I don't know if that is file damaged under repair. Okay, so it's not gonna... It doesn't have anything on it that we can get. So that was the only thing there. There's not like multiple pieces of it or anything. Okay. All right.
Elizabeth.
Oh, wow.
What is this?
I guess we're about to find out. This is going to be something else.
Charles Ronson. I'm logging this 6 hours after final deployment of Gaia Prime. This morning, an access port seal malfunctioned. Gaia Prime's port seals were designed to close with a seam of less than 2 millimeters. But this one closed with a 10 millimeter gap. Enough for an energy signature to bleed through. Enough for the swarm to detect this facility. Enough for Gaia to be discovered and destroyed. Enough to end the future we worked so hard to make possible. Unless the hatch servos were manually re-engaged from the outside. I'm now switching to a recording of the event.
Well, I'm not going out there. Not what I signed up for.
Either we send someone out, or all of this was for nothing.
It should be Liz's decision.
So when is she going to get here?
She said 5 minutes. You don't think...
Oh no. Okay, everyone. I've repaired the seal. Gaia?
Seal closure at 1.4 millimeters. Confirmed.
Elizabeth, no. We'll find a way to bring you back in.
It's not gonna happen. The swarm's too close. Really. It's alright. Gaia's complete. She'll take care of things from here on out. That's what she does.
Not like this. There's so much we...
Guys, you know me. I'm no good at endings. At letting things end, so, let's not.
So, happy trails, Liz. And, see you around.
Yeah. Take care of each other, alright?
Liz.
I'm okay with this. I want to go home. Goodbye.
Jeez.
That was the last transmission of Elizabeth Sobek. She gave everything for the hope of life on this planet. And we are all in her debt.
Yeah, she certainly was fully committed. I mean, she was definitely fully committed to this project. That's for sure. She wasn't she wasn't I don't know. Didn't have any ulterior motives, I guess. Not that there really could be in this kind of a situation, but she was definitely dedicated to the cause, and gave her life to see it done. So, regardless of whether or not you think it was a noble goal, the way that they went about it, she saw it through, and she did it as best as she could. So, I mean, in that sense, at least, it's commendable.
Aloy?
She's gone. Really gone.
You knew she couldn't have survived, Aloy. And her achievements were beyond exceptional.
While her people bickered, she was the one who took responsibility. The only one who could.
She was better than them.
That's not what I said.
She was. You shouldn't be afraid to admit it.
Not in the way you mean. Stop acting like a machine. You just don't get it. What doesn't he get? And what does she mean better than them? Like, she had the resolve. She saw what needed to be done, and they said the swarm was close. Like, there really wasn't a whole lot of time to have a meeting about it, honestly. So, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I don't necessarily like any of these reactions here. But she's upset about something. So, I'm going to go, you just don't get it.
Saying that shows you misunderstand her completely. To her, everyone had value. Everything was worth saving. She gave her life in service to that idea. Even after everything you've learned, you still don't get it. The simplest thing about her, and the most important.
No. She had a superior mind and a superior will. It wasn't about sentimentality.
You're wrong. Remember, she knew it wasn't enough for Gaia to think. She taught Gaia to feel. To care, to sacrifice, to believe in life. Enough to fight against hopelessness. If it wasn't for that sentimentality, life would have ended. You and I would never have existed.
Your argument is sound. I'm sorry for your loss.
She said she wanted to go home. Maybe.
What?
Nothing. It's time to go on.
Where would home be? Anyway, yeah, I have no clue on that. Apparently Aloy does, but I guess we'll find that out.
You'd hate it, Liz, but I wrote you a eulogy. I had to try to express all your children. After all Apollo has taught them, they'll think they know everything. But they have to understand what you did for them. How you loved the whole world so much. With an intensity that was dazzling. Bruising. And in the end, it killed you. Or you died for it. Different perspectives. No one could keep up with you, live up to you. I don't know, maybe if I hadn't taken that postdoc in Joburg. I'm glad you shot down the Lightkeeper protocol in the end. I don't think I could have taken seeing another one of you. I mean, Elizabeth Sobek. There's only one. I miss you.
Lightkeeper Protocol. Now, we haven't heard anything about that yet, but the implication there was that Elizabeth would be cloned, I guess, because he said there would be only one of you, or there should be only one of you. You know, you're unique, or whatever he just said. I already forgot his exact wording, but yeah. And then, of course, Gaia went ahead and took matters into her own hands, many years after that, and here comes Aloy.
Look, Liz, you're a pretty stand-up gal. I'm sorry you died. If you had a home to go to, I hope you got there first. But this monument Ronson's made to you? Kinda creepy if you ask me. Rest in peace, Liz. God knows you earned it.
Hell, Liz. I know you're never gonna hear this. That's not the point. You got to play the savior and the martyr all at once this time. Great work.
Wow. I didn't know that Ted Faro was... I'm actually sort of surprised that he's still alive at this point, but that he was able to get a message in here after she died. I don't know. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. So we could go in there, but I'm actually going to check out this room here and see if we can find out any more information, because that looks like that is the way on. It looks like there's one more data point here.
Hello, Margot. How are you holding up?
Dr. Ronson, I've been getting a lot of messages, unsolicited messages from Ted.
Margot, I'm sorry. With Liz gone, we've got no one to run interference with him. I'll talk to Ted. He mostly wants updates, constant updates, hundreds of updates on things he knows nothing about. Liz used to field all of his crap.
He doesn't understand the systems at all. That was kind of by design. But he's getting pretty sketchy with me.
We just have to keep him happy. Liz always said keep him happy.
Are you kidding? You ever hear how she talked to him?
She was managing him, Margot.
I mean, maybe I should ignore him. He's buried in his pyramid with the Hola Hola girls and Panta Antimod cuckoos. What can he do?
So that's interesting. By the time that this facility was up and running, I kind of figured that, or by the time that they had moved to this facility, I would have figured that basically everything else was just over. That this was the end. This was like the final straw, the final place to go to. But in that they wouldn't necessarily have communication from one of these facilities to another. But anyway, apparently they do, and that they were still communicating with Faro, and that Faro somehow still had oversight of the project. I don't know how or why, like, he would be able to manage or control or have any kind of say over any of the resources or any of what was going on at this point. I mean, as they said, he's in his own little bunker somewhere, hunkered down. I mean, it's not like he would be able to get anything to them, or it just doesn't really seem like that. So, I mean, yeah, I don't really know why they would, need to really involve him at any point, or for any reason at that point. That seems odd to me. All right. Yeah, I'm just looking. I'm looking at walls and little corners that I might not otherwise look at, just to make sure that we grab all these.
What are we gonna plug into their heads, Les? A whole lot of history? A whole lot of so-called truth? A whole lot of noise? It's not pablum, Les. It's poison.
Huh. Yeah, I think Ted Faro might have gone a little bit off his rocker there.
There's another section at the back of the crater. Looks like it survived the blast.
Oh my goodness.
You found the control room.
I'm on my way.
Okay, so, like, oh, I thought we were going to be, like, zip-lining across there, but it doesn't look like I can do that, so. Whoa! That was a close one. That was a close one. Man, just look, this crater is immense, guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see if we can not botch this. Good job, Aloy. More voicemail from Ted Faro.
I've been taking a hard look at the project. In the end, it's simple. It's clean. It's clear. Erasure. Addition. By. Subtraction. I can make a better list. With a single stroke. Make it all go away.
I really don't like the direction this is going.
Yeah.
Continue.
I am struggling here. Okay, here we go. This is weird. Okay, I do not know if I can make that jump, or even if I'm supposed to. This seems just seems kind of like a strange area here, but I do not think I can make that jump. Like, and this doesn't seem right either. This seems kind of like I wasn't supposed to come up here, but I'm going to try to make this jump. Because I can't get back there, so. Okay, made the jump. As I said, or as I've been saying, I am not very comfortable with the platforming. Oh, we can go. I want to go check out that blue light down there first, and then we'll go up these stairs. Oh, not really anything in here. No, that was a little bit of a wasted trip there, but not too far at least, fortunately. Oh, man.
What?
Why wouldn't they die in their beds or whatever?
When I opened the hatch, the air rushed in from this side.
Because there was none inside the chamber.
But the alphas were in there.
My goodness. Okay, let's see what's going on.
I'm locked out of core control. Alpha clearance overridden. What the hell is Omega clearance?
Oh no.
Alpha personnel. Sorry to alarm you, but I need you to listen, okay? To what I'm about to say. This isn't easy. See, please, stop trying to access the system, okay? See, what this is about is, I said stop trying to access the goddamn system. What I'm trying to say is, I can't stop thinking about the ones who'll come after us. Those innocents. Those blameless men and women. We're gonna give them knowledge? Like it's a gift?
Ted. We've talked about this before. Apollo has 3,000 plus fail-safe conditions.
It's not a gift, it's a disease. They're the cure, and we're gonna give them the disease. our disease? No, we can't. And it's not too late. If we're willing to sacrifice.
It doesn't need to be like this.
It already is, Samina. I did it 3 minutes ago. I've purged Apollo. It's gone. All of it. Every copy.
A sacrifice? It's not a sacrifice. It's cultural obliteration, you crazy bastard. Millennia of culture.
I'm sorry. Really, I am. But sometimes, to protect innocence, innocents have to die.
Emergency alert. Venting atmosphere.
Wow. Wow, he went completely insane. How would they know to avoid, like, how would people know to avoid the mistakes of the past if they didn't know about them? You're just saying, okay, well, even if you're saying you don't care about them recreating any of the mistakes of the past that don't completely wipe them out, any mistake that wasn't your mistake, because your mistake wiped out humanity, right? So you're saying any of the other mistakes, you clearly don't care about them recreating those mistakes. But, his mistake happened at like the culmination, the pinnacle of all human technology. So he's making the assertion that knowledge equals technology, which on its face, that's just a ridiculous claim, because that's not all that knowledge is. But that's ridiculous in and of itself. Anyway, that whole thing is ridiculous. That's just clearly the act of someone who is a lunatic. And you can clearly, it's understandable. It's understandable that someone who is grappling with the weight of what has happened in their wake, this guy was, depending on how you want to argue it, either directly or indirectly responsible for the destruction of the human race. So yeah, there's, that would probably mentally break just about anyone. But yeah, he definitely has some, and yeah, if you're mentally broken, then you're going to have some broken reasoning there, but that's completely ridiculous.
He killed them all.
So this is why. This is why we were trapped in benighted ignorance for an innocent future. Blameless men. He never saw the slaughter in the Sun Ring. Everything these people achieved, all the knowledge of the old ones, evaporated, turned to dust, scattered to the void, like the Alphas themselves.
No. Not a void. When the hatch unsealed and scattered their ashes on the wind, it took them out among the world they made. The world we're living in. It's a monument to what they died trying to accomplish.
A monument to oblivion.
Not oblivion, silence. Hope.
Well, a monument to hope. But that's all well and good, but it still doesn't change the fact that that repository of knowledge has been completely obliterated. What do we have here? Master override shielding code device warning contains Gaia purge routine. Once activated, this command cannot be rescinded. So yeah, let's pick it up, because I was wanting to make sure, yeah, we're not activating it, we're just taking it.
Override. That's so small.
Now all you have to do is kill Hades with it.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Now, it is interesting what what they were saying earlier about how they were storing all of the knowledge, right? They were storing Apollo basically in DNA. I think that he said it. They were storing it in DNA. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I'd have to go back and look at it. But I think they were storing it in some kind of like biological entity. Right, so maybe that can be, maybe there is some shred of that left, or some way that can be replicated. Maybe he didn't actually destroy all of it, because you would think, well, maybe you wouldn't think, but maybe the way that was housed would possibly provide the opportunity for recreating it that wouldn't necessarily be there if it was stored in a traditionally digital fashion. I don't know. I'm grasping at straws here. But, you never know. You never know. Because, I mean, if they were going to go through the trouble to tell us that it was stored in such a strange way, maybe that'll come into play. Maybe that'll come into play a little bit later. Maybe that'd be really interesting.
Try not to fall to your death.
Yeah, that does not sound good.
Override doesn't override gravity.
Whoa. Or fall directly to your death. Okay, well, that works. I mean, it really looked like I was supposed to, take that down, but can I not get back up here? Okay. Let's check this area out. Hey, what we got here?
Another one of these power cells.
Hey, cool. How about that? Apparently this isn't the area that I was supposed to be in, so I wouldn't have got that power cell if I hadn't fallen down here like an idiot. That's kind of interesting. So now I've got to work my way down here, and that's not a problem. Not a problem. So once again, I was saying, if I do end up finding... Wait, why would I... we're trying to head back up. So if I do end up finding the necessary power cells, then we will go and get that armor. But if we don't, then... well, then we just won't bother with it. Can I not get up? Ah, there we are. Didn't see that little outcropping there. Well, we made it back up. I really wonder what that rumble was. It's like, I wonder if someone's coming to attack or something. Doesn't bode well. Doesn't sit well in the gut.
You're here.
For a moment.
What?
Our journey together has come to an end, Aloy. But before I go, I think I owe it to you to tell you the rest of the story.
Go on.
Some time ago, I admitted that I'd been involved with the eclipse. But I never told you the full extent of my culpability. The truth is, I was there at the beginning. I found Hades, Aloy, buried on that mountain, trapped in that shattered titan. And I served it.
What?
It promised knowledge and delivered. Such knowledge, you have no idea.
And in exchange?
I helped create the eclipse. Helped it build a cult, an army to do its will.
Why are you telling me this now?
Because your success depends on knowing this. When I found Hades, the first thing it wanted to know about was the Spire. Not Meridian. The Spire. Now, why would that be?
Spire was created by Gaia.
Which part of Gaia?
Minerva. It's code-breaking module. Gaia built spires to transmit the codes that deactivated the Pharaoh robots, shut down their biomatter conversion systems. Hades wants to send a new transmission. To wake the machines, so they can devour the world all over again.
Yes. Based on what we've learned, that's my conclusion as well.
So the Eclipse... the robots they've resurrected... they're just a means to an end. An army to capture the Spire.
Yes. So Hades can exterminate life all over again. Unless you stop it.
Yeah, tell me everything about you and Hades.
I want you to tell me everything. Hades, the Eclipse. Everything.
It's a long story, Aloy.
Then get started.
It began with a focus. Recovered from an ancient ruin, as yours was so many years ago. In my case, the device was heavily damaged. There was just a flicker of life in it. I spent weeks studying it, attempting repairs, until finally, I succeeded. A whole new dimension of perception revealed, right before my eyes. That's when I detected it. A faint signal. Out there, something was searching, just like I was.
A real kindred spirit.
I followed the signal to its source. A shattered titan, buried in the jungles of the Jewel.
So you thought it was a titan? An old war machine?
I didn't know what to think. I'd seen such wreckage before. The Grave Horde, for example. But this was different. This was not quite dead. It couldn't speak when I found it, until my repairs gave it a voice. So began an exchange of knowledge. It wanted to know everything about our world, its tribes and machines. But the Spire was always its foremost concern.
What did it want to know about the Spire?
Its precise location, the surrounding geography, who controlled the land. Meanwhile, Hades revealed to me many of the intricacies of ancient technology. It bid me to recover and repair more focuses. Before long, I had a couple dozen up and running.
Enough to equip a small army.
The commanders of one, anyway. I didn't care. I was learning so much. Physics, calculus. You have no idea.
So even Hades and Gaia, I mean, presumably have a certain amount of what would be in Apollo. Like he said, he knows a bunch of physics and a bunch of calculus now. So there would be a substantial amount of, I don't know, the repository of human knowledge just in those programs for them to be able to do, or at least, I don't know, like he said, physics and calculus, and at least the practical sciences, at least the knowledge there for those programs to actually be able to do what they need to do. And since they're AI, I guess they would just have to be able to quote unquote know that stuff, you know, so they can adapt it to whatever their needs are. So it, you know, at least in that sense, you know, it's kind of strange, like the kind of, you know, going back to what Ted Faro was trying to destroy. You know, that's the kind of knowledge that would be kind of innately preserved in Gaia and Hades. You know, the actual, you know, the actual like practical, technological knowledge, just because they would those two entities would sort of know that stuff just in order to get their stuff done, and in order to get whatever their task is complete. So there would still be at least these two entities in existence on the planet that could at least, I don't know, somehow be interacted with in order to potentially get that information out. Because, you know, Gaia could communicate with Aloy. You know, she said that when she left that message, she said, well, you know, I'm not supposed to communicate with local tribes or whatever, you know, that's against my programming. But she left a message for her. So at least it could, you know, in some sense, in some potential sense, it could be theoretically done. So, I don't know.
And the Shadow Karja? How did they become involved?
The Karja civil war was a happy coincidence. A perfect opportunity.
An opportunity? That's what it was to you?
Yes. Overnight, half the tribe was in exile, desperate to win back Holy Meridian. Their religion made them easy to manipulate. All I had to do was present Hades as the buried shadow of their mythology. So yes, it was an opportunity. I arranged for High Priest Bahavas to meet with Hades. Helis was there as well. And so the eclipse was born. Anything to win back Holy Meridian.
Neither of you cared about Meridian. Yeah, that's clear.
But Hades didn't care about Meridian. And neither did you.
We live in a world of fallen cities and vanished tribes. What were a few more? Besides, I was too busy setting up the cult's focus network to Hades' specifications. A thrilling technical challenge, especially with the alterations I included of my own design.
The ability for you to spy on them.
Yes. I may have been foolish enough to serve Hades, but I was never so foolish that I trusted it. I installed what the ancients used to call a back door in the network. Secret access, empowering me to monitor all activity and communications.
Why'd you betray them? Well, he more or less just said that, like he just didn't trust them.
What made you turn on Hades? It certainly wasn't your conscience.
Actually, I was troubled the first time I saw the Eclipse raise an ancient war robot with my technology. I questioned Hades about its intentions.
A little late.
Indeed. I'd already outlived my usefulness. When I completed work on the Focus Network, Hades summoned me to receive my reward. The next moment, I heard it broadcast my kill order. I've been a fugitive ever since.
That sounds about right. When did you find out about Aloy?
So when did I come into this? Our path together?
When Olin stumbled on you. System threat detected. That got my attention. A kill order against a savage Nora girl? Why would Hades bother with that? But then I saw that this Nora girl was wearing a focus and bore an uncanny resemblance to a great scientist of the old world. Helis moved quickly. I thought you were dead. But then I detected your focus inside the Nora mountain. The more I observed you, the more convinced I became of your extraordinary nature and usefulness. Through you, I could finally discover the secrets of the Earth. I vowed to do everything I could to ensure your success. The rest, as they used to say, is history.
Is there nothing you won't do for knowledge? Yeah, pretty much. This guy's just like... I mean, basically just blindly went in there. Yeah, you've done what you could to make up for your mistakes. I mean... I mean, it seems like honestly most of his actions, even after that, have just kind of been to learn more. Really, but they have more or less aligned with, I would say, the correct path, at least the correct path as I see it. I don't know. There are probably some people out there who think that the correct path is to follow Hades' course of action. I would not be one of those people. But anyway, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, I'm curious to see if he does have a line. So I'm going to ask him.
The things you've done in the pursuit of knowledge, Silence. Pure recklessness.
Aloy, this wasn't a confession to elicit your judgment.
Unbelievable.
I've done all I can. From here on out, the rest is up to you. Take my lance. Fit the master override to it, and you have a means of injection.
Then I just need to get close enough to Hades' skull to stab it in?
Exactly.
No problem. Silence. Where will you go?
Elsewhere. And everywhere. There's so much more to discover before the world ends.
And all this?
I leave it to you, of course. As it turned out, it was yours all along. I was merely trespassing.
Wow. And he's an interesting character, that's for sure. That is for sure. Okay, so, we got a couple of data points up here. Let's check these out.
Task is complete.
Oh gosh.
Yes. The focus network is active, built to your specifications. Check it yourself if you must. I'll wait. But I remind you of the reward you've been withholding. Quantum processing?
Data has been compiled. Volume too great for transfer.
How inconvenient for me.
Come before me. You shall receive your reward.
Very well.
Helis. Threat detected inside Eclipse.
Speak its name, O Shadow, and it will die.
You will eliminate this one. Silence.
Silence. Yes. A truth whispered at night is seen in the day. He was never one of us. It will be done.
Wow.
They're coming.
Preparations are complete.
Ah, Lucent Bahabas. Behold, as I promised you.
What manner of great machine is this? I've never seen such a thing. Stay! Stay your ground, Karja in Shadow!
Incorrect. Bow before the buried shadow.
The buried shadow, I don't understand.
Did Araman understand the Glinthawk that perched upon the alight?
It speaks scripture.
Araman followed the shadow cast from the spire.
To the mesa where Holy Meridian was founded.
You will follow the shadow once more.
I am a righteous man, chosen of the sun. But in times of need, the powers of shadow can accomplish what the sun alone cannot. Will you return to us what is ours, O Shadow of Prophecy?
An army is required. Obey, and Meridian is yours.
Of our obedience you can be certain.
Wow. Well, he converted them pretty quickly.
I traveled far to find you. I heard your transmission. It was you, wasn't it?
Entity is not known.
I'm called Silence, and you are. I don't think you'd have called out, If it wasn't something you wanted, you called, I responded. Will you tell me your name?
Hades.
You are a creation of the ancients. A war machine?
Define timeline.
Time? Ah. It is the 13th king of the Karja Sundam's reign.
Define Karja.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. Were you created by the ancients? I wonder how long you waited here, buried, until I chanced upon you. How long you'd have to wait for another. You're obviously very powerful, but you're not going to get anywhere without me.
Titan flame merely houses intellect. Define Karja.
Now that's more like it.
Yeah, we listened to those in reverse order, but yeah, the interactions that he had with Hades, he basically told us all about them, but getting to hear that definitely colors the story a little bit more. It's, man, that's just crazy. His pursuit of knowledge was definitely, I think Aloy really hit the nail on the head, describing it as just reckless. I mean, he did not see what was right in front of him. I mean, I guess they don't necessarily, they wouldn't have any idea what Hades meant, or have any idea what the mythological significance of that would be. But, just hearing that voice, I'd be like, you know what? I don't know if I trust you as far as I could throw you. So I'm going to go ahead and do whatever I can to, thwart your plans. Or at the very least not interact with you anymore. I'm out of here. But let's go ahead and craft our lance. Now, hopefully this is going to replace our spear and be like, better than it. Because it looks like a better spear. Yeah. Awesome. I like it. Let's have a look. Let's quickly look at our inventory here. Silen's Lance, very rare. This melee weapon has a quick light attack. Now we still can't put anything in it. That kind of sucks. But at least it is in here and it does presumably it does more damage. I don't even know what our regular spear does because we can't see it. We do have 3 skills though, so we can beef up some of this stuff. So heavy spears, I think this is what we were actually working towards. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. Why not? But anyway, yeah, that is what we, man, that looks really freaking cool, doesn't it? That looks really freaking cool. Oh, guys, we just got another level and another skill point, although that one skill point isn't really going to do us any good right now. Just by itself, just hanging out there by itself. But we did get, let's have a look at where we're going to be heading. Okay, well, I can't really see it here. So the looming shadow, let's see if we can show it on map. Show on map, here we go. Okay, yeah, it's going to take us back to the Palace of the Sun. Let's see. Hades intends to use the spire to transmit the resurrection signal, calling millions of buried war machines from their graves. When the time comes, Aloy must stand against the shadow, but she will not fight alone. Yeah, because we talked to the Nora Braves, and we told them to meet us in Meridian. Now, we've also made friends with people in Meridian, so hopefully they will fight with us as well. And maybe even, Aaron said he was going to head away, but maybe he's going to be back by now because, it's been a little while. So it would be kind of cool to see him again. But yeah, guys, I think that we might be rapidly approaching a climactic situation. And I know there are a couple of other things that we can go around here and do, but honestly, I'm basically inclined to go back here and see what's going on here, because I've been having, guys, I'm in it right now. This is some intense stuff. So, but anyway, yeah, there's been a ton of exposition. I know we've had a couple of interspersed combat ones, but for the most part, we haven't had a ton of action in the last several episodes. So I hope that's not a huge problem with you guys. But there has just been a bunch of exposition. But I'm betting, based on the sound of this one, Aloy must stand against the shadow, but she will not fight alone. I'm betting that things are going to start hitting the fan and getting a little bit spicy. But anyway, guys, that is where we are going to cut it for this one. So, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. We are going to be picking up right here next time.